Welcome to the All Things Money podcast, where Dr. Kent unravels the complexities of personal finance and investment strategies to empower your financial journey with cutting-edge insights and practical advice.
Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of the All Things Money podcast, the podcast that cuts through the noise to help you navigate your financial future. It's great to have you here. Today, we're tackling a burning question that's been on many people's minds lately, especially given the economic chaos we've been witnessing around the world. Why hasn't the stock market crashed yet, despite the economic chaos surrounding us? Over the next several minutes, I'll share the hidden factors keeping the market afloat, including cheap debt, corporate buybacks, and liquidity cycles. Understanding these elements isn't just for Wall Street insiders. It's essential for you too. You are probably thinking, why should I care? Well, because knowledge is power. Recognizing these dynamics can help you make smarter investment decisions, potentially saving you from costly mistakes in an uncertain economic climate. So, listen till the end. I'll break it down step by step, so you will leave today more informed and ready to take action. Despite all this upheaval, the stock market has been surprisingly strong. Why is that? Well, let's unravel this mystery. First, I want to remind you of our last episode, where we touched upon how the Federal Reserve's policies and inflation are affecting the markets. It was a dense session loaded with insights, and if you haven't caught that yet, I'd highly recommend pausing now and giving it a listen so today's discussion makes even more sense. Now, getting into today's theme. You might be wondering how and why the stock market can be so seemingly disconnected from reality. On the surface, it almost feels counterintuitive that with all that chaos, markets haven't crashed. The key here lies in understanding a few pivotal mechanisms, namely cheap debt, corporate buybacks, and liquidity cycles. Let's unpack these, starting with cheap debt. Essentially, when interest rates are kept low, it becomes inexpensive for companies to borrow money. This allows them to not just survive, but actually thrive, maintain operations, and in many instances, pursue aggressive expansion strategies. It's as if they're using low-interest loans as fuel for business growth. And in turn, this helps prop up stock prices because investors love to see growth potential. Now, corporate buybacks are another fascinating element in this dynamic. Companies often buy back their own stocks from the marketplace, reducing the number of shares available. This is done for various reasons, including increasing the ownership stake of remaining shareholders and projecting a confidence signal about the company's prospects. So, even if there's troubling news, these buybacks can create a perception of stability and support the stock's price because fewer shares on the market can lead to increased demand. Now, you might be pondering, but Dr. Kent, aren't these tactics just quick fixes? Well, that's a valid question, and indeed, these strategies might not be long-term solutions. The sustainability of a robust stock market in a struggling economy is always subject to deeper economic realities eventually taking hold. However, if you're in it for the short term, these factors can significantly influence the market. Moving on, let's discuss liquidity cycles. Simply put, liquidity refers to how easily assets can be converted to cash. High liquidity usually means there's enough cash flowing in the system, allowing for smooth transactions. Central banks around the world sometimes flood economies with liquidity to stimulate growth. In such environments, there might be enough free-flowing money to keep stock prices and valuations high. A hypothetical scenario might help put this into perspective. Imagine a small restaurant that, despite lower customer footfall, can access loans at nearly no interest, allowing them to keep employees paid and the doors open. Similarly, they might choose to invest profit back into maintaining their share prices during hard times, even launching promotions or partnerships to reignite interest. The broader market operates in much the same fashion, just with mega corporations and government backing. Again, many may wonder if holding cash is safer in these conditions. However, in an era of inflation and low interest rates, cash itself may lose value. I always suggest that some exposure to stocks or other assets might be more beneficial due to their potential to grow and adapt to ebbs and flows. It's about staying with the curve. Each investor needs to look at their unique situation, but spreading investments across a diversified portfolio tends to mitigate risks. And let's not forget long-term wealth strategies. They involve patience and vision, often beyond immediate fluctuations. Investing in skills or industries that are aligned with the future or demonstrate growth potential could pay off greatly. If there's one takeaway I want you to have from today, It's that understanding these market dynamics allows you to make measured, informed decisions rather than impulsive ones. Especially in these times, knowledge can be your greatest ally. We'll be having more detailed sessions on these elements in future episodes, potentially bringing in market experts to delve into tactical approaches you can use right now. So stay tuned for more insights because there's a lot coming your way. As always, it's amazing to have you on this journey. Keep your questions coming, engage with us on social media, and let's keep uncovering these financial mysteries together. Until next time, this is Dr. Kent signing off. Stay savvy, stay informed, and talk soon.
Thanks for tuning in to the All Things Money podcast, where Dr. Kent has equipped you with the insights and tools to master your financial future. Until next time, keep investing in yourself.